So in the first portion of this video, we created the wooden pieces, and now let's take a look at our reference. Now we need to create this metal coil, okay, that it actually makes the clothespin function. It allows it to, it forces it to stay closed, and you got to push on these two ends in order to open it. I'm going to back up one, and this is the actual object. Wow, it's kind of an interesting but complex shape. It's one piece that starts here, goes, loops, and comes back over here. These pieces rest in the little square notches that we cut out at the front of the wooden piece. Okay, so we've got to figure out how to make this, and there's a lot of different ways to go about it, and we'll kind of investigate a few of them. So again, I like working with reference material, so I'm going to keep this up off screen over on another monitor, and let's take a look at building that. Now, I'm going to build it, in the end, I'm going to build it the way that I would like to build it for maximum control. But for starters, let's just take a look. If you're in a rush, sometimes you've got a deadline to make, and you don't always get to work the way you want. You just have to make deadline. And one fast way to get that coil would be, I'm going to drop this in the background. And actually, let's go ahead and save a new version. So save object as 3. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to this little wooden notch, create a disc that's going to fit within that little wooden notch. Okay, just to get an idea of how thick, what's the diameter of our coil. Okay, so I'm going to cut and paste that into layer 10 just as a backup, and then come over to layer 4, paste, put the pin in the background, and let's find a home for this. So one thing that I can do to make my life really easy is I'm going to move that wooden pin so that roughly the hole where the coil needs to go is at the origin. I can always move it back to where I want, and in the end I'm going to move the object, give the object a new home anyway. So I'm just going to kind of rough in something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take this flat piece and I'm going to rotate it with R, and I need to find a place for it to go so that I can lathe it around. Okay, so let's just try this and see what happens. So I'm going to go over to multiply, lathe, let's run it down the Z. Okay, and it's not tall enough, so I'm going to take and adjust its center point, okay, in the X, just making it thicker, but I made it a little too thick, so I'm just going to bump that down a little bit. Okay, that works. It's a little gap here and it's a little too far down here, but that means I just have to move it up. Now, well, that's a ring, and I need some kind of helix shape, some kind of spring shape. So all I have to do is work with the offset. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit up here so that I can see the edges of my wooden clip, and I'm just going to start changing the offset. Well, I got a coil shape going, but it only goes around once. So I'm going to take the end angle and let's just try 1200. Now know that you have to type in anything over 360 degrees. Okay, so I'm just going to offset it some more. Now it's kind of blocky, so I'm going to add some sides. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to get a couple more loops on that. So I'm going to try 1800. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do 2000. I'm doing more than I need. I'm going to space these out some. I'm doing more than I need because I want to be able to cut off at a certain point. I need some more sides. Okay. Now, depending on how close you get is how many sides you need and how smooth you want to go. Also, the disk that we created, maybe we didn't need as many sides, but for right now, this is fine. Okay, so let's just say that this is going to work for us. Okay, so I'm going to move it into place. Okay, and I need to just adjust it so that the pieces are coming out of there, and I'm also going to zoom in, kind of put that into place like that. Okay, so I've got the coil part, but let's go back to our reference. We've got the coil, but then it comes up and down, and on the other side it goes down and up. So we have to build that. So I'm going to figure out how can we do that. There's a few different ways. First, we need to, let's say that this one is going to go up. So the first thing that we need to do is take this polygon, and I'm going to expand my selection and have it be one more. And I'm going to delete. Okay. Grab these points, select loop, P for polygon, and this is going to allow me to extend this up. Okay, I made that extra geometry just so that I wouldn't have to figure out the exact number to key in for offset and lathe and the number of loops. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is build the rest of that shape. Now, I just realized that I need to head this way, and I was thinking I was going to head that way. That's not a problem. All I'm going to do is rotate this. Okay, do something like this, and magically I'm on the other side, and I'm going to have it go up on that one. So that works. Okay, so I could do this manually, and actually let's do this manually. I'm going to hit E for extend. I'm going to come up. I'm going to use Y for rotate, and I'm going to hit E for extend, rotate, E for extend, rotate. Kind of move it into place. Grab these points. Okay. Y for rotate, E, rotate, E, rotate, E, rotate, E, rotate, E, bring it down, say something like this. Then I just need to come up here and go Y for rotate, E, rotate, E, rotate, E, rotate, E. I'm going to flatten that out a bit with stretch. E, come over here, bevel that end piece, and we've got that shape. Okay, I got to adjust this right here, but I can do it manually, and it holds up from a distance. I think it would hold up even more, but I'm a little pickier than that. So you could just extend and rotate, but it's not as clean, and I want it to be clean. So how can we make it clean? Well, we'll do it over here. Okay, so this so the way this one should work is if that's going down, this one should come up. So we might actually have that where we want it. Okay, let's just say we do, and we're going to have it come down. So I'm going to use Spline Draw. So come over to Create, Spline Draw, click, have it come down, come over here, something like that, and I'm going to grab that curve, move it over so that it lines up with my polygon here. Okay, and then I just need to clean this up, move this here. Okay, So let's grab that curve, cut, paste. I'm going to have that in the background, but first I need to know where the head of that curve is. And the head of the curve is in the right place. That's where I started drawing it. I want it right up against here. I'm going to select this poly, hit F for flip, multiply, rail extrude, and let's just use automatic for now. Now I need to know that the polygon right here at the base is still there. I'm going to delete that. Okay, go back into texture wire. Okay, much cleaner than using that extend setup. Okay, I gotta pull that over and maybe move this over some. But see, in one move I was able to get that with rail extrude. Okay, now that's just a couple ways of building this. Now I'm going to build it the way that if I could build it any way, it's the way I'm about to show. We already have it, and we could move on. We could tweak a few little points and call this done, but I'd like to show you the setup. I kind of liked what I saw when I was doing the rail extrude on this one piece. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just rail extrude the entire thing? That's what I'm thinking. But let's go ahead and save where we're at. File, save object, and I'm just going to save this as version 4. Say the client called and I needed to be done with this. I'm done. I can move on. Maybe there's a couple little tweaks, but what I'm going to do now that I've got all this saved, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the coil, cut, and I'm going to paste it over here into just a junk layer. And let's build the coil in a different way. So I'm going to take a shape. I'm just going to take this box. This is a temporary thing. I'm going to take this box, center it, and go to, let's put this down here, go over to multiply, duplicate, helix, okay, and I'm just going to change some of these settings. I changed the radius, now I'm changing the height. Notice that I'm building a little coil, kind of like what we might need, and we can build as many segments as we want. I just want to see about how much I want to stretch it out, but we can always fix that later. And let's do this. Now I really don't need all these boxes at all, so I'm just going to delete them. All I was really after was this, which can definitely come in handy. I'm going to rotate, F2 to center. Okay, remember we put the little opening at the origin, so I'm just going to shrink this down. And I need to actually shrink it down a little bit because I need to make sure that it's going to fit when we rail extrude the shape. So I'm going to try something like this. We can always adjust it. The beauty of rail extrude is it's one move, you undo, and you can tweak your curve if you need to. Okay, so now we need to know that one of the pieces, I'm going to spread these out some. See, that's the other thing that's nice about the rail is I don't have to worry about it squashing the geometry. Okay, I want this piece to come down and this piece to come up. So this is actually working out pretty good. I'm going to go into wireframe mode and kill this. Okay, that'll be the piece that's coming up, and this will be the piece that's coming down. Okay, up and down. Now we can decide how many coils we want. I'm actually doing more than, well, because I'm doing more than I'm supposed to, I'm going to be a little pickier. And 1, 2, 3. I'll do something like this. And get rid of these. Okay, that's a little more realistic. Okay, so that piece is going to come down and the other piece is going to come up. I'm just going to shrink. I'm just sizing those just a bit. Okay, so now we got the coil. We just need the other piece. Well, fortunately, I like to save, and we've got the other piece. I'm going to mirror this right here so that I can get rid of this piece. Take this, make sure that I'm putting it in place. Say something like this. Okay. Cut, paste, weld. Okay, and I might decide to adjust this a little bit. Okay, but we're going to smooth that out once we merge it into one. Okay, now I'm going to take this, copy, paste, and rotate it. And I'm going to get this one into place and make sure that it is going to actually be in place. Something like that. Okay. So now I just got to figure out how to bring this together. Cut, paste, so they're in the same layer. Weld. Okay, so I ended up with the shape that I need, except I got 3 curves. Shift Z, which is merge polys. The only thing that I think I should do is add a point. Add points. I think I should add a point to this and kind of smooth that out a some. So you can adjust it as you see fit. I'm going to just adjust these. I didn't like what happened before, so I'm just adjusting those. Okay, now would be a good time to save because we have our master component for creating what we need. So I'm going to come over to File, Save Object As, save it as 5. Okay, and now I've got this coil, and it looks like it's fitting pretty good in our piece. So let's grab that flat piece that we created, the flat disc, and let's get it into place. Okay, so I just need to put it at the start of my curve. Shift A will fit the windows, the viewports to the selection, which will allow me to line that up. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that that is the start. Yep. See the little diamond shape? That tells me that's the start of my spline. I need that for where my rail extrude is going to start. And I'll drop into the background, and let's go ahead and rail extrude. So multiply, rail extrude, okay. Look at that, all in one go. Let's see what it looks like in our object. We might decide to have that go a little longer, but it depends on the clothespin, because in my reference it doesn't go right to the end, but it does come out a little more, but we know we can just move that. Now, why is this the preferred method? Well, it's my preferred method, and I'll show you why. I'm going to undo, or actually I'm not even going to undo. I'm just going to, let's keep this piece. We've got it, why not save it? So save object, 06. And I'm going to create a new disk, and this one's going to have 12 sides. Okay, and I'm going to move that into place. Actually, this is a good little reference item to know where to put it. I'm just going to put it where we had it before. Okay. And I'm going to take this, and just like before, let's rail extrude it. Multiply, rail extrude. Okay, now, looks pretty good to me. Let's go into texture mode. Okay, and I'm going to have both layers selected when I do this. Q for change surface, and let's call this C-pin coil and hit OK. Now, this is the one with 12 sides, and this is the one with 24. Now, you can see a shift, but you can't really tell the difference. Why not go with the lower poly one? Okay, let's mix it with our clip here. Okay, and if we used the lower poly one or the higher poly, you can't really tell the difference. So why not cut render time? I mean, this is a low poly object, but why use this when you can use this? See the difference? Okay, so that's one of the benefits of using rail extrude for building this, is that you can play with the number of sides on your shape. Okay, you can kind of experiment, and it doesn't take that long. If we went the other way, you'd have to go through all that process, which of course wasn't that much. You just lathe and then rail extrude, or lathe and extend, rotate. But to me, it's much easier to just do a couple rail extrudes to figure out how much you want. Okay, there's a couple other things I want to do just to finish this off, and then we'll be done. I'm just going to take this and do a slight little bevel. Take this, do a slight little bevel. I just don't want those hard edges. That's one of those things that bugs me. Okay, and let's go Q for change surface, C-pin, wood clip, and we'll pick a color to work with, like that. Turn smoothing on. We don't need spec on that. Ooh, we got a problem. Okay, I turned smoothing on because that's what I wanted for these round edges and stuff, but I get a smoothing error on this giant poly. Well, on all the giant polys, it looks like. But instead of going and turning that off, all I really need to do is go to the surface editor, go to the wooden clip, and for my smoothing threshold, I'm going to try 30. Well, it's not quite it, so I'm just going to mini slide up. There we go. So 24 seems to work. Okay, so I got nice smoothing in here, but I don't have the smoothing error. So the smooth threshold is going to help us with that. Okay, so there we go. That's a look at, not so much, I hope that you're not seeing this as, oh, let me go step by step and I will have a clothespin at the end. I'm hoping you're seeing more kind of the thought process that goes into how do you break down shapes on objects to build it. And I hope that you have seen that there's not one way to go about doing this. I'm sure that if I asked 6 different artists to build this clothespin, we would get 6 different techniques, six different sets of tools, and you know, some of them would have started with the coil and then gone to the wooden clips. It's kind of like you know, anything, you can do it several ways. But this is hopefully a little bit of an insight into using several tools. I tried to pick a route that we could investigate different techniques with different tools. But in the end, we got what we needed. We needed a nice looking clothespin. So last thing to do is save. So I'm going to File, Save Object, go over to version 7. And then I'm going to see all these extra layers. I don't really need to mess with it. So I'm going to go to Copy, New, Paste, File, Save Object, and we'll do this as number 8. And that way I don't get rid of all the objects that I had in the other layers. What if I want that curve? But for when I'm ready to go to layout, I just need one object in one layer in this case, unless I wanted to animate it, and then I would break it up, or if I was going to use bones to animate it, then I could have it in one layer. But at the end of the day, you want to try and keep everything as clean and organized as possible, and so getting rid of all those other layers, but having a backup that you can always go back to is not a bad thing. So again, this is just a quick look at a couple techniques for modeling a clothespin.